Yeah. You'd have to be really, yeah. But it'd be interesting if they do it. I want to know it. And could break it easily. Particularly with the new, oh, I'm encrypting your freaking drive everywhere.
I don't know what we're doing.
We're connecting. The meeting is being recorded. I see Art there.
I don't hear Art. Art doesn't see us. I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. Nope, I don't know what I'm doing. I've lost my mind. I don't hear Art. Why don't I hear Art? Does Art hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I heard Art say yes.
It was
Sort of.
very weak.
Sort of. I'll turn the
How's
vol-
that sound?
That's better.
How's that?
That's a lot better. I turned the volume up on the TV too, so.
Okay.
What is going on, Mr. Art?
Not much. We're starting to have fires in California again.
Woohoo. Oh, Sharon's not on me.
Oh, screen sharing?
Yeah,
You want screen sharing?
yeah,
You want me to actually do stuff?
yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it's been a long day.
Oh, yeah, man.
Well, it isn't as hot there as it was yesterday, at least in Milford.
Really cool thing about our apartment, if I open the back door and I open the front door, I get this really, really nice breeze going through. And I don't have to run the AC most of the time.
Well, that's cool.
So,
Literally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's pretty brutal in there.
So how did Knoppix go there?
I downloaded it and I have it on a flash drive. I haven't tried it yet.
Okay.
Kenny isn't here. There's
So you got it on a bootable flash drive, right?
that's the working theory.
Okay.
I burn it correctly. I did it downloaded in about 6 minutes. I was like, holy cow. So
Yeah,
whatever that link you sent me, that was fast.
yeah. You use wget to download it?
No, I just use it just off the web, just a standard download from the web browser.
Okay.
But I mean, it took about 6 minutes. There for a few minutes, it said that it was going to take 10 minutes. I'm like, okay, that's still fast. But
yeah,
then it took like 6 minutes. I'm like, wow.
I downloaded it both here and in Milford, and that's about how long it took, I think.
Yeah, that 4.4 gigs in 6 minutes. That was impressive. I was impressed.
Yeah, that's the 9.1 version.
Whatever you sent me a link to, yeah.
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 Okay, what do we have here? Bluetooth audio's biggest upgrade coming to headphones.
This allows you to share multiple devices with a source, which is I wanted that forever.
So the deal is that you and several of your friends each can have their Bluetooth earphones hooked up, and your all good to go.
Yeah, and I could put my, connect my TV to my computer and listen to speakers all over the house, listen to my TV all over the house.
Wow. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what is this thing with Porsche convinced that new e-fuels can save the combustion engine?
And that's why we have you, Art.
Okay, so explain to me what an e-fuel is.
Okay, so here they are. This is in Chile. I think it's Chile. And here's what they said. And you can glean what you can from it. But they have
I-
plenty of solar power there. And they're gonna separate water. And then they're gonna combine the hydrogen, I believe it is, with
Yeah.
carbon and make an e-fuel. So that they
Yeah.
can, so that you can have that 911 Carrera that you wanted, and they make e-fuel out of that. Okay.
Well,
And
I'm sure that my wife that will convince my wife that I've got to run out and get one.
well, that's not quite available yet, so you may have to wait a while. But,
Oh, okay, okay.
so
The guy across the street from me, well, actually, it's the wife of the guy across the street from me, has a has a has a Porsche SUV, no less. I hate to think what that must have cost, but they tool around in that quite a bit.
oh, same group there. Okay.
Yep. Well, I have now read all that I have available of Martha Wells' stuff. I am on the wait list for number 3, 4, and 5. Uh, but the wait list for number 3, I think now is down to about 3 or 4 months, something like that. And I don't even know what the others 2 are. I read 6 first. I then read 1. I just completed 2 and returned it to the library. And now I am waiting for the others to get off the wait list. And apparently I am fairly far down the pecking order on number 3.
Oh, if you wasn't so dang cheap, Art, you would go to Amazon and buy it. Dang.
Well, that's probably true, but you know what? I have
Speaking
come
of the
to
group that you're talking to, though, I know be careful saying those things.
I have come to the conclusion with this ebook arrangement in the library that I don't need to own any more books. I already own probably 10,000 books, not most of them paper and ink. But I've started getting rid of those because I don't have any place here to store them anymore, and they're just getting in the way. And so I've kind of developed this philosophy: I don't need to own any more books. But the problem with that is, of course, then that means I got to wait on queue at the library. Now I've also got a Fremont, California library card, and I haven't really explored the California library. I've mostly been working off of the Ohio, whatever the Ohio library system is.
Well, they're all connected anyway.
Well, I know, but I have a card for Midpoint and I have a card for Claremont County, which is where my house is. And either one or both of those will give me access to the Ohio system. So I've kind of been lazy about getting hooked up, but if I get hooked up to the California system, they may have a later, a shorter wait list. So at any rate, that's where I am in reading through everything. I have not yet read the Elon Musk one. Hey, how you doing?
Art, how are you?
Long lost Vicente is back.
Almost.
With books.
For a while, I am on vacation still. I like your art.
Thanks, sir. You can get one.
I have one of, I bought one Indiana Jones style, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Leather. Looks like fresher. You know.
It's summertime. Gotta have a white hat.
So, how is going the weather in California?
All right, at the moment it's pretty hot,
Okay.
but and we still haven't had any rain for, I don't know, it's beginning to approach decades now. It's been several years. You must have noticed that when you were in the Bay Area, that things were pretty dry.
I was in Spain and it's really hot. Really.
I've been,
So
been watching videos about the dam out there.
Today is 122 in Spain, Sevilla. 122.
Yeah.
That's hot. That's too hot.
Oh, can't be.
That's Southern California.
That is air conditioning weather. I couldn't get a breeze good enough to
Yeah, that would be like sitting in the wake of a blowtorch or a jet engine.
I've been watching videos about the Hoover Dam and how much water it's lost over the last
Oh yeah, the
year.
more and more bodies are coming to the surface.
And they're finding like military cars and stuff down in there. It's just insane how much stuff was buried in this thing.
Wow.
And it's really there's a guy who every couple of months he goes out and he takes pictures and he compares what he used to have to the new what's there now. It's amazing how far it's dropped just in a couple of months' time.
That Shasta Dam's gonna fall apart on your Art. You need to go in that sucker and look. I've been in it.
No, I don't.
Yeah, yeah. I'd take a safety vest with me, okay?
Yeah. Well, Hoover Dam, of course, is way south and somewhat east of us. The Shasta is north. It's almost up to the Oregon border, as a matter of fact. So Mount Shasta is, I don't know, I think.
California use Hoover Down water.
Say again?
California use the water from the Nevada Hoover Down.
Southern California does. We don't.
Okay.
We get snow melt out of the Sierras from the Hitachi Dam, but we don't get. Hoover is south of us,
Yeah.
quite a ways. So we don't get any of that. Southern California does, and the south end of the Central Valley, where they grow a lot of fruits and vegetables and so forth and so on, gets it. But we primarily have Hitachi water. We have water out of various dams in the Sierra Nevada. And that's north of, long way north of LA. But no, the thing that I've been amazed at is the various bodies that have worked their way to the surface as the Hoover water lowers, and the various things that have been dumped there over the years are revealed.
Yeah. It's amazing how much stuff is in that.
Well, it'd be interesting to do the same thing on the Ohio River.
Especially parts of the Ohio.
Well, down in
Flood and clean most of that out. Ohio's not that deep either.
If you go down into Kentucky, it gets fairly wide and fairly deep.
Yeah. Through the lock system.
well, if you look at the borders, most of the Ohio River, at least by Cincinnati, is in Kentucky. The state line is actually close to the north,
Yeah.
the north shore of the Ohio.
Yeah. It's the Kentucky River. Ohio just decided to name it Ohio.
Well, all that happened a little bit before my time.
But if you go,
Right before the
if you
wheel.
go west, you go into Kentucky and go west, the river really widens out, and it's pretty deep. Like, I don't know how many bodies would be buried in it, but it's pretty deep. I know.
You're talking about down towards Louisville?
Yeah, it's pretty wide. Up here, it is pretty shallow. Here in Cincinnati, in this area, it's not real deep. But it's still deep enough that boats can cruise on it. So
Only because they dug it out. It was originally, it was like 13 foot.
yeah, it's not real deep here. Coast Guard patrols it though. They keep pretty good track of where the large boats can go and where the
Do they
small
check
boats.
on trucks too, maybe?
Trucks. Make sure the trucks aren't in the water.
Get them up in tide hunter, you know?
Don't know. Need the Coast Guard. Coast Guard to come and do that.
Something of this is working.
Sort of. This is a far better project than that other project.
The other one is on standby.
Uh,
This is a power supply or what? It's very, as on my controller or something.
So you're still working on the software for the
that's a power.
AI there, Leroy?
No, I sort of walked away from that because, well, there are a couple reasons. I thought that I understood what the AI was doing, and it became pretty obvious that I don't really understand fully what it's doing. And I think my idea of changing the ultrasonics to time of flight just was a bad idea.
I think it invalidate.
Really?
Yeah.
The tables that you have in some way.
When I went in and I modified all the tables and
You change too much parameters.
yeah, stuff just started, and I just kind of went, okay, I'm done thinking about this right now. I can't deal with this. But I think the time of flight, they're really fast sensors. So I need to read them like really fast. They're also pretty narrow, so they don't have the actual same
They are not the
Field of
same
view.
as the other one.
of the ultrasonics. The ultrasonics actually have a fairly wide field of view, so they're catching things that the time of flights aren't catching. So I just think that my choice of sensor, my idea of changing sensors was just wrong. It's just a bad idea. Just a bad idea. So
Well, what was the problem with the AI part of it?
Once I started change, well, it was written for centimeters and the time of flights were millimeters, which easy enough to fix by doing some multiplication
Margin or something.
or division or something. But once I started changing numbers, once I started changing the two parameters that it had, just, it either was running into things or it wasn't right. You gotta find the right numbers that work for the stuff that you're trying to use. And the ultrasonic, I did have to make a couple of small changes for my ultrasonics, but nothing like for this, for the time of flights.
I just stopped by Micro Center now. I bought a Raspberry Pi Pico W.
They got them?
Yeah, they have, but just one for the person, just customer, just one. But I just reserved it by, well, you can do that now. They have a 25 plus, whatever.
Better
There,
get
there
one.
were nobody there.
I better get one
Um,
before they decide to sell them
The
out.
bad thing is that it's only one per visit. I mean,
You have to be physically present to buy them?
no, you can reserve it by internet. They hold it for you, but it's only one per customer, per
Well,
visit.
there you go, Leroy. You just buy it online while you're sitting there.
But I want to try it, but I don't know if there is any project interesting in it.
When I looked the other day.
I
they
saw
didn't
it
have them.
in Spain. I saw it in Twitter, the announcement that there is in Micro Center stores. But I felt, okay, I miss it. But now I check before come here. Let me check. Oh, yes, they are. So,
Limit one. What the?
yeah,
How much?
$6.
yeah. $5.99 plus tax will be $6.40 something. Yeah, I don't remember.
These days, it probably costs you that much in gas to drive there.
Yeah, more than the microcontroller itself.
If I,
That's why I don't return some stuff from Amazon that costs $5. I don't return it because it will cost me $5 in gas.
Yep.
So
what's gas going for there these days?
well,
It's cheap down here.
it's cheaper, right? For something,
$4.39.
but it was 2 weeks ago.
where's the 439 at?
Oh, there's really, it's been down that low. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, you can ship a trailer load of that to California.
Look
We're
at gas.
we're pushing $7 here.
Yeah. It's been 450 in Franklin for the
I was in
past
California
couple of
paying that 3 weeks ago. Very expensive.
Does anybody buy it at Costco?
No, just close to the airport, whatever.
I got
Before
it.
returning the car in Hertz.
Okay. You got to pay. Dang it. All right.
You found it? They're logging or what?
You'll not be charged.
No, they just hold your stuff.
Yeah, but
Until
everybody
you go
doesn't
and
need
pay
to
for
see
it.
my stuff though. Goodbye.
Yeah, you were doing it in the screen. And then you are recording and put it in YouTube.
Yeah, right.
You better not be recording this. Somebody, namely my wife, will be very upset if I accidentally give away the credit card number.
I was thinking, oh, okay, we already have a copy, but not.
Here's Murphy, 454 for regular.
Yes.
Kroger fuel checker, 442 for regular.
That's about what it's been in Franklin.
442. And we have seen it at like 439, and it was, we saw it at 420 something somewhere. Trust me, Gail watches all that stuff.
This is about location or something.
Yeah.
This is not cheap.
Nope.
No, we tend to buy gasoline at Costco.
Okay.
So it's typically about not quite 10% lower at Costco than it is in the surrounding area.
Okay, Costco.
Sharonville is actually pretty close to you guys there.
Well, we get the dollar off gas.
Costco,
Coming up on that again, the Kroger.
Well, that depends on how many
Fuel point.
points you have for purchase.
Yep. And I realized I've got a Mensa in my family.
You've got a what in your family?
A Mensa.
You ask for it, you see the web or you IT?
I submitted the print job last night.
And it's
they
not me,
said that it
surprise,
was done
surprise.
this morning.
Well, that kind of narrows things down, doesn't
Hey.
it, Jim?
I thought you were gonna say, well, that's kind of obvious, Jim. Yeah, thanks, Art.
Do what?
What you got there, Leroy?
3 bases, right? Beacons or bases.
I printed this, I designed this map last night and had
Yeah.
them print it, sent it to them this last night, and they had it ready for me when I walked in. It's got the grid numbers. It's basically just a grid map, and it turned out smaller than what I thought.
I forgot the name here. Okay, this will be done this week then.
It's already too small, so I gotta make it bigger anyway.
Okay,
This little sheet costs
half an inch.
$4. They're supposed to be 2 inches apart. They're supposed to be 2 inches, 2-inch.
2 by 2, yeah. Oh, strange.
And I think they really need to be about 4-inch. But I wasn't thinking about that
And
when
I need to put this precisely.
it just needs to be close, because they're not, it's not as,
Precise.
it's not quite as precise as it could be.
So is that just ordinary printer paper, or what is that
That's,
stuff?
Vinyl.
Was vinyl?
Vinyl, yeah. And it needs to be probably about twice this size.
And try to leave material around to keep it flat. You know.
I actually, I had it, I don't know why they cut it so short.
I always ask.
Well,
for no coating.
Did you put a
Leave-
1/2 inch?
leave
Because it's
material.
at this end.
I said no cutting,
Okay.
and they cut it anyway, so.
Oh,
Maybe you need to make a margin yourself a square around something. Okay, so. there's something-
So what do they charge you for something like that, Leroy?
This is 23.5 something by 11.69. So 24 by 12, and it costs $4.
That's not bad.
So, you know, I can't really complain about the cost. It's just
No.
smaller than I don't know what I would, I don't know. Trying to do this at midnight last night probably was not the right thing to do. So this is ultra wideband, and there's supposed to be trilateration so that it will tell what my distances are. So right now, sensor 2, which, oh, sensor 1 is dead. Sensor 1 needs to be plugged in, otherwise it won't tell me anything. Hang on.
oops.
Yeah.
That's why I brought extra wire, because I was like, I bet as soon as I get down there, the batteries are going to die in these stupid things.
We have a problem, the coffee machine gone,
It's gone.
but they said in a couple of weeks, they will be one or something.
All right.
I
So
didn't hear that, but okay, they
And
said
then
they,
I asked,
oh, okay.
we
oh,
got
no, there will be another one, okay, I hope so.
that.
They had
This
trouble
is
with the vendor.
sensor 1.
They
See,
had
it
trouble
says
with the
1 right
vendor.
there.
We knew they had trouble,
Okay,
always had trouble with the coins and stuff.
okay.
This one's sensor 3. It said 3 for a second. This one doesn't say anything, so it's sensor 2.
So we need to pass.
So the
by
one that doesn't say
Starbucks
anything is sensor 2.
or something.
And I have,
Yeah,
what's wrong?
I showed him, he's rapping about the machines. I showed him,
we need to
he's
buy
gonna have to bring
stuff
in a
before-
thermos. I said, look at this. We got that and we got that. We're prepared, came prepared. I didn't forget it this time. It's the only thing I didn't forget, huh, Leroy?
Our distance from sensor 1 is 0.5. Distance from sensor 2 is 0.3.
this is
Point,
feet.
point. It's supposed to be centimeters.
Well, no.
It's,
0.3 centimeters would be,
no. It gives it's 3 centimeters. It gives the thing out in meters. See, I'm trying to get it to coordinate with where it's
Which one-
actually
which
sitting.
one is one, this one,
This is 1.
and this is 2.
That's 2. So we can.
It's like
It takes it a couple of seconds to update.
20 is 20 point. Okay, 20. I mean the second one. 20 centimeters, right? 20,
Second one,
yeah,
yeah.
this 20, this will be 10.
Okay.
yeah, that looks about right.
No, still 20. No, it's not 20. This is the number 2.
Yeah, that's the
Zero.
number 2.
It's all point, but the 2 is the beacon, is the base.
Right.
So
Okay.
are you saying this is impossible? It's point.
It's point,
0.6 centimeters, no way.
well, no, it's, it gives this number out in meters. So it's
Okay, half.
0.6 meters.
Okay.
0.6 meters would be about 2 feet.
Yeah, but maybe a matter of calibration, but at least it's something more. It's,
Kenny's here.
no,
Yeah.
Hey, Kenny,
Hey.
See, I haven't quite figured out.
this is 3.
That's the-
0.47.
It's supposed to be,
0.24. Okay.
it's supposed to be 10 centimeters to
0.28. 0.42, but it's low, right?
yeah. So
How is the several seconds?
yeah, that was as I was watching it.
But you saw that in the specification, the frequency. I think it's faster than that.
Well, I was watching it and it was like, why is it so slow?
You can move. You need to wait several seconds each time to check your position.
Yeah, and that's not right. I've seen these.
You are using an example.
The code that M5 gave was written for their stack, not these. And it was written so that you put one piece of code onto the stack, and then you hit a button on the stack, and it turns it into a tag or it turns it into a base
Can behave a base or
or a tag. I took the code and I ripped it apart so that this is the tag. No, this is the tag, and these are the bases. And I changed it, changed the display so that it would display on that little.
all of them are ESP32.
All of them are ESP32. But actually, once these go to sleep, seems like once it tells us to become a base, and this thing goes to sleep, that thing will just continue to be a base until it loses power. So these two don't really seem like they're actual doing any kind of communication other than right at the start, right when you first kick it off and tell it to become a base. Now, the tag is communicating all the time. The tag's getting the updates from the bases. I think there's a small delay in here to update the screen.
0.5 here, right? And now is 0.1, 0.90, 0.94. Okay, at least change with the distance. It's slow and it's not precise, maybe a matter of calibration. Well, actually, it's working.
It is working. It's doing something.
Yeah. Now it's 0.32.
See, I bought these sensors before the pandemic.
Okay.
And never, ever messed with them. So I thought, now's the time to mess with them. We have
Here we have 0.35. If I move this double distance, now we have 0.64, 0.69, 0.70, 0.7. So is actually is changing with the distance. But it's low and the number doesn't mean meters or whatever. This is not 0.7 meters, this is 0.5 meters,
Okay,
0.4.
Yeah, that's, it acts like it's off by about a factor of 2.
Yeah. Here is 0.7. Here is
let it settle for a second.
here is 0.35, half distance. But
So it is about half the distance, but it's just not showing the right number.
yeah, but it's proportional, you know.
Yeah.
At least it's proportional and it's working. The problem is slow and it's not calibrated. Maybe
So-
you can change the loop of
It says that the position accuracy is supposed to be 10 centimeters, which
10 is too much for this, right? Because it's plus minus 10, right? Usually.
Yeah.
And the plus minus 10 is like whenever between 7 inches or so.
look, centimeters, right? That's like pretty small, right?
4 inches, 10 centimeters. 20 centimeters are 8 inches.
Okay, so if my blocks are
This is 10
2
centimeters,
inches,
10 centimeters,
so
4
that's
inches.
about 10 centimeters.
Yeah.
Give or take
Yeah,
a little.
2.54.
So that's good to know, because if I set that right on the line and that says
0.1 would be.
0.1 would be right, so I can adjust whatever it's saying right
Yeah.
now to be 0.1.
Mm.
So that's good to know.
I think it's Smartphone release a new system also, very precise, but they are very expensive also.
These were, at the time I bought them, I think they were,
And what about the
45
maximum
bucks.
distance
it doesn't
the
say,
area or whatever?
it doesn't say what the maximum distance is. I've got that somewhere. I downloaded the data sheet for this thing.
And they say something about working across the walls.
Mhm. See what M5 has done is they've taken the DW1000, which is the sensor, and then they've stuck a STM32 on there to control it, and then they piping everything back out over serial into the ESP32s. So that has to slow things down a little. But it's 6 bands, 3.5 gigahertz to 6.5 gigahertz. So it should be well outside of being
1.5,
interfered with
yeah.
right now.
UWT.
So when I bought, they're
Is this about
$55
wideband?
right now. Do what?
WB means wideband,
Ultra wideband, yeah.
ultra wideband.
They were, I think they were 45, they're 55 right now. I think when I bought them, they were 45, and that was, you had to buy at least 4 of them to. Yeah, well, we already know I'm
$45?
crazy. 40, but these little white dew flippies right here are $45.
Only the.
I'll give you 45 cents.
No, you will give me $55 because that's the going rate now, mister.
No.
I give you a gallon of gasoline.
That's that's pretty close, right? If I wouldn't have bought these before the pandemic, I wouldn't have had them because I'm not paying $55 for them. So supposedly though, once you know your distances, you could do trilateration, not triangulation, trilateration on the distances and figure out which grid you're actually sitting in.
You can
And then you
identify where
could,
you are. Actually, you can use only, with two of them, you can find 2 points.
2 points.
So you can use always one side of the.
Yeah. Some of the math to do the trilateration is in here, but it's not right. Because I think I need to know exactly where these sensors are actually sitting. But so in,
I think you need to draw the.
Yeah.
Like
I need to
like
make
a-
an actual place to put them down
square, and to put this exactly this point
instead of just saying base.
instead of being around. movement. But if I say is plus minus 10.
Well, if I made another map, which I'm going to have to do, I could leave half a centimeter off all the way around.
I would try to use just single one and to correct everything, distance and frequency of sampling, and the other stuff is just adding more sensors. But
Yeah.
to make just one work correctly would be nice.
Oh,
And they can be in any position, I guess. It's just
yeah,
omnidirectional antenna.
yeah, it doesn't really matter as far as I can tell. I mean, that should actually make it a little bit further away, but from what I can tell, it doesn't really matter much. So that's the other challenge is,
I like the tiny robot. It's really nice.
the other challenge would be is how does the robot know which orientation it's in? Is it facing this direction or is it facing this direction? Or is
No,
it,
you need to move and figure out, you need to move a distance. Figure out this vector you create. Both positions. But the problem is that the resolution is so low that it would be hard to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe you need a magnetometer or something. A compass.
could do that. I've got some compasses.
How long the battery lasts in this thing playing around? Because your ESP has battery. It's already has battery inside. Just the battery are for
Yeah, it's not
the
getting,
powertrain.
there's a battery
Okay.
down there just for the drivetrain.
Okay.
And I'm honestly surprised that I don't need to plug it in because I've been playing with this thing for a couple of days now, so.
Do they have a robot like that, but without the omni wheels?
So this is a lithium polymer or what?
Yeah, it's one of those little tiny lipos,
Half size? No?
200 milliamps or something.
200 milliamp hours?
Yeah,
That's pretty small.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean. I'm surprised it hasn't died yet. Because I've been playing with it. But I came prepared. I brought cables. Steve is stuck in traffic somewhere.
It's coming.
He's coming.
Right. This is the same connector than the one
Yeah.
that is here.
Yeah.
And
So I
this is
could
only
run,
power, right?
Yes, this is only power, so I could run it off of that.
But there is more power here than in the whole thing. there.
So they say, yes.
Double.
This can run, this can also charge a cell phone and something else.
This is a
It's one of these.
road connector,
Yeah.
whatever. And you can put here the MStack 5 here. Okay.
I don't know if it'll power both things or not.
You are the best customer of these people.
I
You
love,
buy
I
everything.
love
You buy
M5.
all the stuff from them.
M5 is,
Wow.
they just make all kinds of awesome stuff.
It's like a Lego, electronics Lego. But actually they use Lego.
Yeah, these are Lego holes.
Plug this in the Lego blocks.
Ever since I started messing with M5 stuff, I've been like, this is good stuff. And it used to be cheap. I mean, these used to be $7.50. You know how much they
Wow.
want for them now?
No, double.
Almost triple
Wow.
for them.
So
So
this is the ESP32 with this lights,
mhm,
matrix,
mhm.
and all those IOs.
Yep,
No power, right?
no power, there's no
And
battery.
this is
in this.
a user button or reset.
Yes, there's a user button. There's actually two of them. The center is a button and the that's a button.
Wait, it's not the same thing, right?
So, but the center,
Okay, okay.
the center is a button. These used to be like $7.50 and these used to be like $5.50 without the matrix on them.
What's going on?
And this grow connector, this is just general IO. So I could set it to become anything. I turned it into serial, I could turn it into I2C, I could,
IO, whatever, yeah.
so. And they make, come on, turn off. I don't need you. This is just a little battery for it that plugs right into it. And then that battery has a pass-through for both the USB and the Grove connector. And that works with their other M5 products. As long as they got that same orientation, that same configuration,
They are very good at design and mechanical design.
you can plug that right in. So I should have bought a few more of these stupid little battery connectors because these things are awesome. I ended up buying 2 of these batteries and 2 of these, and one of these went bad. So one of these, this little part right here, it's super, super hot when I go and try to charge it. So I ended up with an expensive set of batteries.
Sounds like it's got a voltage regulator in there.
Yeah, that's what's getting hot too, is that regulator, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, well,
It's not worth it for me to try to repair it though. I mean, it is what it is at this point. I've had one of these orange ones act like it went bad. It wouldn't enumerate, it wouldn't do anything. I left it sit for probably 2 weeks and went and plugged it back in, and then it was fine. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know if it got a power spike or what happened to it. But that one kind of freaked me out a little bit.
They have two models, right? The new one has the screen a little bigger.
The bigger screen, yeah. It also has something else. It does something else to it. I've got some of the big ones, some of the C pluses. Biggest problem I've had with M5 is if you don't charge the batteries, they go bad. Because you need to go through and make sure all of them are charged up, because they're just the LiPos. And these are almost impossible to get apart. I mean, you're going to break something if you try to take that apart. These are, I haven't tried to take these apart. They look like they would be hard to get apart. But that's the biggest problem I've had with the
They are
M5
stuff,
stuff.
or maybe they are using glue.
Yeah,
It's not in.
they came out with a model, or they're coming out with a model of those atoms that have a OLED, tiny OLED screen. I don't really want to know what the price of those is going to be, because you know I'm going to have to buy some.
They have a specific power supply for the atom. I mean, tiny one or not. You need to add the like this. So you can make it like a Simon say game or something with several of them, but they need to have attached to the power supply. This one.
This one, the ones with the matrix, they've got a IMU in them too. This one doesn't. This one doesn't have an IMU. It's just a ESP32 basically with a couple of buttons and an LED. There's an LED under there that will light up.
It's almost the same, but without the matrix, right?
Pretty much. Well, without the matrix and without the IMU. There's no IMU. So if you need an IMU, that's probably important. But I saw a picture of, they teased out one. It's got an OLED screen. It's the same size, it's got an OLED screen. I'm going, damn it, now I've got to buy something else.
That's the idea.
Now I need something else. I don't think I needed that, but then I saw it and I needed it. This button doesn't do anything but turn it on and off. So, you know, the microcontroller's up here and everything else is just a pass through. Well, it's a pretty nifty design, because if you need extra power here or whatever.
So the prices are going high.
Yeah.
Higher and higher.
Redesign my little map, make it at least twice as big and fix a couple of the small problems.
And you need to work at scale more. But I think you pay for this distance.
Yeah,
You
four
can
bucks.
pay the same thing for a wider design.
So I could still go to 2 foot.
I don't know. The minimum size they have
It's 28 inches.
bigger than that, and you pay for your drawing, but you have a couple of margins that you can use.
Yeah, they charged me four half units, so they charged me,
I think they raise the prices because I remember what used to be cheaper.
they charged me,
Price per year food, $1
so
and use 4.
price per half linear foot, and I used 4 linear feet,
Okay,
which
they increase the prices, I think.
I'm not real sure how they, because this is 2 foot by 1 foot, so that's 3 linear feet of,
But you pay for this thing in this direction for food, right? Not
So
food.
what is the
For-
width?
for half food, $4. But the material is really wide, so something is strange here.
yeah, I'm not real sure how they came up with that price. I'm not complaining, $4 was cheap enough, but something doesn't add up.
Yeah. I think so.
So which way is the long way on that, Leroy? Which way is the width versus the length?
Minimum width of the material is 20,
They've got material that's 28,
28,
and they've got 56.
36 or something.
Yeah,
Okay, imagine 28 is more than this.
so that's
Supposed
about
to be
24.
A couple of dollars, no more, you know.
That's about 24. Yeah, that should be about 24, so 28 would be,
So you have a couple of inches up each side.
yeah. So
Whatever.
I'm not sure how they did it. I'm not, $4 is cheap.
When you ask for a work, you put in your description your size.
Yeah.
And but they use one dimension. The first one, or the larger one. I don't understand.
The large, they use the larger one. I mean, that's $2.
It's not fair because the material is really wide. Maybe it's a good idea to be around, you know, when you want to make more stuff.
Bigger stuff.
Bigger.
I'm not sure how they got for it. It's $2 per foot, so $1 a half foot. So that's what they did. They said it's 24 inches. It's $4.
And then they cut the, you need to put your margin
Yeah.
here.
Well, I've got, apparently I've got the room to do a little bit more, so I can make it a little bigger in the length department. I can make it a little,
At least an
Little
extra
bigger.
inch in every direction.
but I think for a first try, that is not
How do you
bad.
design this using what?
Inkscape.
Okay. The same thing I use for my gray bot. Gradient.
For a first try, that's not bad. And it was a cheap first try. So
I try to bring my gray stuff. I need to write something.
are you going to go flying?
Back. I already used to fly, but I need to update my license.
What did you fly?
Huh?
Cessnas?
Cessna 206. Six persons.
Okay.
Single pop.
Huh? No problem.
So you have your private license?
I have. I lost it.
Okay. Nice. You have to go back to school?
I don't know. Maybe I need to make it several hours. and check.
Check it
why
out
or
again.
something.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about to go back. I don't know.
My dad used to be a pilot. I'm not sure why he never renewed.
Make good money now, get a good signing bonus.
Yeah, they're flying jets, not props.
Dad flew 172s and 152s. He flew the smaller stuff, the 4-person single engine.
Yeah, my dad had his license to fly. And what he did, he took the plane up, okay, and he didn't realize it. The sun was up and around, but the landing strip was down in the canyon, down in the rear, okay? So he went down, dark. He didn't have a instrument rating, so he kind of banged up the plane a little bit. He said a good landing is a landing that you can walk away from.
You can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm talking
Yep.
about it. Very much so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And I said, is that the last time you were up? Yep, that's the last time I was up. Well, guess what's coming to Cincinnati? Blink.
When's me?
Yep.
It's coming. I don't know. They had some big hoop-de-doo thing
Used to
downtown.
be in fall, right?
Yeah.
I remember last time it was very cold.
It was in October, I thought it was, yeah, but it was, they're supposed to be between Covington and Cincinnati, they're getting together, gonna put on a big blink show this year.
Great. People in the streets again.
Blink.
That's-
I was in the Taste of Cincinnati last month, I think.
uh-huh.
Trucks and restaurants with small.
It's crowded.
Yeah, but the problem is that you can eat a full food in any place because they must serve small portions. It's like a rule. So you need to buy several places to complete a meal.
They got that managed, okay? They know how to manage that.
Yeah, the idea is that it tastes
Yeah,
stuff.
taste, different taste. I thought about going to Blue Ash for the fireworks. And that's pretty good. I was, last time it was downtown Blue Ash, now it's at the airport.
Okay.
So it's a pretty big deal now. Yeah. It used to be a little town show and that was pretty nice. Not anymore. But I can see the fireworks from my deck, so yeah, it's okay.
It stood out on the back porch last night and watched the fireworks display. I don't know where they were shooting from. I don't know if it was city or if it was just somebody out in their backyard shooting off fireworks. But it lasted 4 or 5 minutes.
Kings Island every night, 10 o'clock,
Yeah.
they shoot up fireworks. I can see that from the front porch,
Okay.
so it's pretty nice. So it's a summertime thing, so.
So Art, how's it going? California with the fires. My daughter was in Stanford for a full week without electricity because there were a fire close to Palo Alto. And they were without power for a week. So they were
Really?
using generators, but they
So-
have-
So is she back home now?
no, they have a free week, just make activities without electricity. So they create new stuff just to compensate for the electricity problem, but now it's going well, everything. So it's okay. I think it was a nice thing because they they got together doing a lot of stuff instead of having classes. So she have a lot of new friends, and they went to all the restaurants in Palo Alto and all places around. So was like a social week without
Okay, well, that's cool.
electricity.
So is she going to end up going there?
Excuse me?
She going to end up matriculating at Stanford?
I'm sorry, I don't get the one word.
Matriculating.
No, she's
I don't know what that means.
she's in high school. She's just
No, but sometimes she will graduate from high school and then go to college.
she wants to go there. It's one of the options to go.
There's Steve.
Is Steve,
Finally.
is Steve,
She's
Steve
planning
is
to
not
go.
trapped in traffic
Stanford.
anymore.
So she's pretty happy with the area, huh?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, I would be too, you know. As long as you buying, I'm staying.
Yeah.
$2 per linear foot, 28-inch printable area
So what happened to you last week?
per linear foot for 52-inch.
You lost power. So we didn't take the day off.
I had to
Okay, I
go
need to
pick
check
up my
that.
generator for my kids.
So they're basing it on
How'd you go?
the length,
Yeah,
not the height.
They print this in this direction or something. They rotate it. I don't know.
I don't know. My PDF definitely was in that orientation, so
We can back it up.
I'm not
Did you
arguing.
send the file?
Yeah.
They send the.
I sent the file, I actually asked them for a price,
Okay.
and the next thing I get was your printing's done, and I'm like, okay.
So
Well, they know prices
you
now.
have no
Yeah,
choice.
the price is $4. Your print's done, come and pay.
What is it?
You don't need to pay in advance.
No,
When you come to pick up. So I think you have a chance of.
it, I mean, no, I'm not, the $4 doesn't bother me, because I figured it was gonna be $4 or $5.
A lot of stuff. I mean, because there were a problem, I print like 4 huge things, and it was 13 bucks,
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
The $4 doesn't, it's not the $4, it's just how they came up with $4. Because I would have figured, I mean, I would have figured that would have been at least $5 because it's 2 foot by 1 foot.
One of the track I bring doesn't work nice, too light. So I need to change the contrast and make and print again. And he said, don't worry about the first one. Can I keep it? Yes.
If you don't know, I need your
No.
help.
Well,
We need these guys' help.
I don't know nothing. I know less
What
than
about
that.
the?
Go on down.
Me?
Yeah, you got it.
Even taking it out of the box.
I don't know what you got up there.
So this is a 500 gig normal spinning drive. It's an old Toshiba that I found at work. It's formatted with Ventoy with a third partition. So it's got 400 gigs that's writable and 100 gigs that is, well, about 50 that is a boot partition, and then just a folder filled with ISET files, one of which is a Cronus 2019. And if you've been helping him with this, then you may, huh?
Sure, all I did was try to get it to boot,
Okay.
to run a conventional,
Have you used a Cronus before?
Agnes? Yes.
Acronis, I've used
Okay.
Acronis, yeah.
That's
Okay.
what it's pointing at
Oh,
now.
cool.
Yeah, so once it boots, you just use this to pick which ISO file you want to boot from. You hit enter. And then it boots.
There you go, Art. It booted right up. I saw it
You need to
do it.
plug in your
Where's the
external
Windows
drive.
logo?
So what did they boot it with?
You wanted it Windows. look.
Arcronus.
What year, what version?
2019.
2019.
Oh, that's too old.
Okay. So the problem was just getting a current enough kernel that it would,
We still got
A modern OS, yeah.
Dang it. I thought it was in here.
Oh, the DVD?
Yeah.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, it's at home.
DVD for what?
No, I'm looking for the DVD.
cool.
Yours?
Yeah.
Well, you gave it, because it was mine. And you gave it back to me,
Did I now?
and I took it home.
Dang.
What DVD?
And I had it sitting in,
The Arcronus DVD that you had last week.
I'm looking for,
No,
I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for, no, guys. No, guys.
So Leroy,
Yes.
put the name of the OS in the
In the chat.
chat, yeah.
For now,
AC Arcronus.
well, the
Acronis. I call it
drive has
Acronis.
Ventoy on it, and it has a bunch of different ISO files, one of which is Acronis 2019, but that isn't booting. I
That
thought it
will
was-
not boot it?
It doesn't seem to be.
Here. Here. That's got knaps on it. See if that
It's got Knoppix.
knaps.
Yeah,
Well,
it's the current version of Knoppix.
I've got a bunch of stuff on here.
That's what Art wanted me to boot that, so I brought it.
Well, basically, if it's a driver problem, Knoppix goes around a lot of driver problems.
Knappings.
It takes a long while to boot typically.
It hasn't done anything since saying kernel.
Oh, okay.
So you're getting the
It
kernel,
hasn't- it
you're
hasn't
getting the
opened up
kernel error
at
too.
all.
Yeah, but I also have a 2-month-old version of
So some,
Clonezilla on here.
Godzilla?
Clonezilla.
Clonezilla.
It goes to.
That's where we are.
Godzilla, yeah.
Yeah, we know Godzilla.
Yeah, I saw it on TV the other night.
Don't want to get too boisterous with these guys. They think we're crazy.
they don't have to think. We are crazy. What are you talking about?
Didn't boot up.
No, and I've never seen her, and this is a Cronus, it's asking what language do you want? That's the default.
Choose
Keeps the
Spanish
default.
for it.
Start Clonezilla. You just hit enter a bunch of times.
Apparently, Acronis isn't
Device
didn't
images,
boot, but Clonezilla did.
use the local drives.
Yeah,
Continue.
Did it give you a kernel error when Acronis tried to boot?
It said something, but I didn't see what it was.
Yeah.
So this is showing what drives it's found. And the external USB to Toshiba 500 gig is what we're going for. You've got a 1 gig internal drive, so may not all fit. This drive's seen better days.
It still works. It's an 8 gig drive. I mean,
It's a hole.
It still works. Don't give my drive a hard time. It used to have a
Where you
clip
would
that
break
flipped
things.
around, so it would
So
protect
there's
the
a 400 gig
Okay, yes.
external.
spin it around to
drive.
protect the USB.
And then you don't fist the drive. And now it's asking this thing.
What's the drive?
This FSCK, file system check,
Oh, okay.
Unix. There's no need for extra letters.
There is no space for it.
Vowels, we don't need no stinking vowels. That's just a waste of time and space, vowels.
There's a new Linux virus around the servers. I think I read something like it's attacking the Linux servers.
Sorry, at that point, I should have said done, because it's showing other things that are on there, and I forgot that I had looked at this with Windows. And was confused by the thing that's showing.
So what program is this?
Clemson. So this is, not called Clemson. I forget what it's called, but it's made by Clemson. Save this. And it asks what name, and it's got today's date. So it'll create a folder on here with that date, and then put a bunch of files in there. And then we want to save the NVMe drive. Yes, through the whole thing. And this is the command that it's actually running. So you can skip all of this in the future and just type that. Or you can write it on here.
Take a
And,
picture of it.
well, yeah, it tells you, it saves it on here.
Okay, it's gonna save it on that.
Yeah, it's in the log file. Sure, you don't continue.
So how would the average bear like me ever figure this out?
If you read it, most of it makes sense. Things that might not are what it's calling things. It calls this SDA, and it calls the drive here NVMe, because it has an NVMe drive, and this is a SDA stands for SCSI device, and A is the first one, B would be the second. So it just saved the boot partition, the file partition for the drive, and now it's storing stuff. The chances that it'll get done are not great.
SCSI?
Yes,
Is it SCSI?
Linux treats basically everything as SCSI. Because SCSI came up with a beautiful set of commands for handling blocked devices. And and that's what Windows uses too. It's the same commands.
So new, but they hide it from.
Right. And this doesn't. Oh yeah, it's saying it's going to take 2.5 hours.
Okay.
That's how hours, fine with it.
You don't have 2.5 hours anyway. The library closes at 8.
So,
Well, it's got a battery.
oh, we did that.
I'm just saying, I mean, you're going to get kicked out sooner or later.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, done your piece before that. Yeah.
And restore it when you boot off of it and you select Funzilla. The first screen is, are you trying to make a backup or are you trying to do a restore? If you do a restore, it shows you the dates that it's saved on the drive. So you can pick which one that you want. It's pretty straightforward. Don't take the oldest one because that's for my work machine. And it's only what it needs to boot. It's not the full backup. It's only taking up like 400 megs on there. You can just delete the folder.
So what it is doing right now is downloading into that, 3 different partitions then?
Actually 4.
Okay. And the title is today's date.
Yes. The name of the folder is today's date. And in that folder, there's going to be probably 80 different files.
Right.
That are compressed image files. There's just the information needed to create the partitions on the drive. There's information about your computer. It'll have the serial number and all sorts of information. It's neat stuff. You may want to look in there.
There should be tons, I mean, this kind of stuff used to be free on downloads.
It is.
Oh, okay.
All of this.
But
is
I'm
free.
talking about something that is an English translation of this, so I guess what it says SCSI over there, but what does that mean?
You like SCSI.
They don't SCSI here.
Well, there is.
There, yes. Well, a normal person who is not a Linux guy would say there's no SCSI here. Why does it say SCSI?
SCSI drive, I've heard that. You know.
It's calling it an SDA. It doesn't say SCSI.
Yeah,
That's- SCSI is
Yeah, but
just, or
this is-
Think of
SDA.
it
is
as,
short
this is
for-
don't
so-
think of it as SCSI, think of it as SATA.
Yeah, no, yeah, it is.
or serial device interface.
This is so simple to use. There should be a Windows equivalent of this. So someone should package this.
They
Since
do.
it's- Yeah, and they call
Yeah.
it,
They call it about $75.
no, I'm talking about free. I mean, it should be.
Windows stuff isn't free. It doesn't have the ecosystem behind it of people that are willing to do.
I've
Word
used, I've
for free.
used image backup software before for
Well,
Windows several times. Free stuff. Free.
okay. I only come across a few things and never been able to do a restore with free software.
Oh,
I have not had good luck with Windows. That's why I don't use it.
Activist is good, no, except for the now.
Well, and it's also about $300 for the.
For the server version, yeah.
And that's what this ISO. is
So see,
from.
I already have a license. I just need to get up there.
They don't give
He's
you,
got a license.
they
He's
don't
not
give
gonna
you
even
an-
ever find it.
they don't give you an update.
They don't do that anymore.
If you want one that.
That's what I got in
current, you have to buy
2000.
it.
And when it works, you
That's
know,
what I got in 2014.
Okay.
It was an update.
They would have given you all of the updates for the 2014 version, which there were 2, I think. This is the 2019 version, first update. And it didn't seem to want to boot.
Yeah. The 2019 version got one. That's what.
Yeah. So if you want a copy of it, welcome to it. I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay, but you know, the last time I messed with it was to build the bootable disk, you know, in 2014, and I was done.
Yeah.
That's my last time using it. But
So
it's,
that is a bootable disk, and it has a bunch of ISO files on it, and it has the Acronis 2019 ISO file, the thing that you can copy that to a Windows machine and say, make me a DVD from this. they all look exactly the same. I'm kind of surprised that the 2019 version didn't work.
Yeah, we tried.
Kind of
this one,
surprised
but it
too.
didn't work.
And one of the neat things that you can do with Clonezilla is you can put it on a Raspberry Pi. And I mean, it takes some work, but you can make a thing that will do network backups across all of the machines at your house or a small business. Clonezilla is, so all of the stuff that we had to go through and select in the menus,
Yeah.
you can put in a script called this machine and boot off of it and run this machine, and it'll make the backup. And won't ask any questions at all.
I wish I could remember which backup software I had found. Basically was Clonezilla, except that it had a GUI.
I never looked that up.
I wish I could remember which one that was, because that's what they need, is a GUI. They don't need a bunch of command line stuff.
Well, I disagree. Clonezilla server is a glorious thing.
SCSI. I can't get past SCSI.
But small computer systems interface. It's a small computer system.
And it has an interface.
And SCSI worked with so many things so well. Scanners and plotters and hard drives.
So what happened to them? Did they disappear?
It was an expensive thing,
All right.
and they made a few mistakes. One, they invented a new version of SCSI about every 6 weeks. And so you had SCSI and SCSI 2 and SCSI 4 and SCSI, all sorts of stuff. And big SCSI stuff required terminators, and that had little dip switches that you had to set. It was not an easy thing. It was much simpler than, or much more difficult than IDE, which is what everything used when SCSI was big. But when an IDE drive maxed out at 133 megabytes per second, SCSI was doing a gigabyte per second. And it was just much faster.
And IDE wasn't without its issues either.
Yeah, yeah, there, some drives, some cables didn't have the wire cut in them. And if you move the little jumper on the drive at the wrong time, you blow the drive out.
IDE was a cheaper alternative, but it was not without its problems.
So you can go to the store and buy Actress for $300 to operate the same thing, do the same thing basically.
Probably.
But it doesn't work. We already
Do what?
know.
Rescue
We already
zone.
know.
Maybe that's what it was. It
We
was
know
basically
Steve, that the
Clonezilla
Acronis
with
doesn't work on that system.
No, we know that 2019 does.
and 2014 doesn't.
2022 might,
Okay.
because, I mean, the Acronis is the same thing. It really is. I mean, it might not have actual Clonezilla under it, but Clonezilla is open source, meaning the guys at Acronis can go, oh, we don't like that part. That part.
Exactly.
There we go. It's a new product.
Yeah.
Or like this RescueZilla
Yeah.
probably looked at Clonezilla and went, oh,
Well,
why don't we have a GUI for this thing? So we
this
just made a
whole
GUI.
screen that we went through is just a text user interface.
Yeah.
The GUI probably just answers the same question.
Yeah, I am, the one that I saw, 99% sure that it was doing it was creating script basically to run Clonezilla.
Yeah, and there's no reason not to. It's simple enough to take, and for, you're taking something that's relatively simple and making it idiot or relatively idiot. It shouldn't be that big.
You're turning it into pictures instead of words. So you can look at a picture and go, this is what I want to do, instead of the words that say, this is what I want to do.
I had a person ask me once to make them a GUI interface to rsync. But they wanted all of the options.
Of course.
Like, okay, so there's like 30 tabs and 20 radio buttons on every tab. What are you gaining?
Why do you want a GUI is supposed to make it a little easier? These are all the common things that you do. You want to do complicated stuff, go to the CLI.
He had used what is it, GRSync, and it wasn't complex enough. It didn't do some feature he wanted.
Like that MU clone, MU, whatever it was.
Art, you with us here?
Yeah, I'm here.
You got the GUI
In
and the
MU Commander.
SCUs?
I like.
You know,
It doesn't do everything.
I started out,
Clonezilla,
there wasn't even a command line, so
I can go through. the-
command line is second nature to me.
for the system,
Okay.
booting from this.
Mhm.
Okay, and it's an option, is it what, you boot this up and it says option is Clonezilla? So like.
It has, yeah, it has, there's 20 different ISOs on there. It has installers for Linux Mint and XCP-NG and Clonezilla.
But it just pops a list up and I can select Clonezilla. Okay.
Or if you plug it into a machine where you just browse the files on it, there are ISO files for all of those. If you want to create DVDs or CDs, whatever, you can do that from that directly.
Yep.
You create CDs, or you can create backup CDs,
No,
create
you can,
CDs for
Bootable.
Clonezilla.
that has ISO files,
Yeah.
.iso,
I don't know what
which
that
are,
means.
those are the files that you use to make, that are images of CDs.
Okay,
So I have a CD, I create an ISO file, I send you the ISO file, you can create a physical CD from it, and they should be identical.
okay,
So that has the files to create CDs if that's what you want to do.
oh, okay. Create CDs for Clonezilla, create CDs for Acronis.
Mhm.
Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa, and now really, all I want is Acronis bootable.
That's, the ISO is on there.
Okay, now is there gonna be a bunch of ISOs for Acronis? Because Acronis is not.
There's only one. It's Acronis. So there's a Linux bootable Acronis disk that is what most people consider Acronis.
Oh,
There's
okay.
also a server version, and there's the Windows thing that you run constantly and does incremental backups. That isn't on there.
Okay, so
This is-
really, what I want is a bootable anyway. Just make the bootable and it'll have the options on it to do a backup, do a restore. Okay,
There's also a copy of Ventoy. If you copy that to your Windows machine, you can use it to create another booting thing. Ventoy is pretty darn impressive.
Yeah.
And if you're going to do this, where you're making backups to an external drive, if you want to use Ventoy to do that, be sure to create a extra partition, a place to write your data. So kind of an odd thing to me with Ventoy, you've got a very tiny boot partition that scans the second partition to see what ISO files are there, and it builds the menu. But that partition isn't writable. You can't boot an ISO from there and then write data back to that partition. But you can create a third partition that is writable. And this one has that, and it's called space. And you can have this drive. It's pretty darn old. I wouldn't trust it to last too long. That's That's a 500 gig drive that I think is from about 2012.
Well.
2014.
14, okay.
But it is not going to be able to finish. It's only 10% done.
Yeah,
Um,
just stick it in the case to go with that.
Well,
Okay.
I would just stop it. When you get home, with Windows, plug this in, delete. There's a very obvious folder. It's called space spare or something like that. And it's going to have a couple of folders in it. Just delete all of those folders and then empty the recycle bin. One of the things it can't do is start from, if we shut this down, there's no way you can start it back up and tell it, continue where you left off.
No, it's gotta go all the way through. Yeah. But I'm just saying I could stick it in here, get home, plug it in, take my chance.
Yeah, can't hurt anything. Does your
I feel
computer?
a full episode of Below Deck coming on.
I think so too. Yeah.
It's a TV show.
Okay,
It's about cruise ships, $4 million cruise ship. Well, actually like 4 different variants. There's Below Deck Mediterranean, Below Deck sailing ships, which is a luxury sailing ship with the automated sails and
okay.
yeah, you need to see that. It's pretty good. And off-color things happening, and that shows the life of the crew.
Then the crew.
Oh, okay. Well, well, you might know some of the things that have been going on here. A lot of stuff going on
They
there.
call them yachties.
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, so yeah, it's on Bravo.
You got that, Art?
Yep.
Okay.
We'll have to come over with Kenny someday and we'll watch episodes. Now they got Below Deck Down Under.
Okay.
Australia. It's a hoot.
We got new toys in the table.
Yeah, I saw it. It's impressive. Did you bring your charger with you?
Well, I didn't realize that that's what that was, so I'm still plugged into the wall like a Neanderthal dinosaur.
I'm also curious.
Is that installed in the table?
Yeah,
No
Oh.
kidding.
Yeah.
When did they do that?
apparently this past week. we've got,
my system disk on my Windows computer.
Okay.
But software RAID is not really
You've got,
designed to do that.
Yes, it is.
that's
My
HDMI.
software rate is wonderful.
Wow.
Really? Okay, so I can boot the Windows operating system
And
and RAID the operating
Power.
system and the entire disk.
Yes.
And that was the way I
So
thought
that thing
it
has
was good. It's
USB connectors on the side of it or what?
no, I don't
Yeah,
see
maybe Windows
USB,
dropped their
but
support for it, but they used to have.
So number
I mean,
two, the guy that
it's,
says like you can do it anyway, what he did was he created a partition to put the operating system on, and he said mirror this, except he didn't mirror the operating system partition, he mirrored the other partition, and it worked great. I said Windows does some stuff where they write to a sectors and block, and then they go find it, and
So
they,
does it have to be popped up, Leroy?
okay, and.
Do what?
I think that's.
Does it have to be popped up in order to
Windows
charge?
Has software rate built in.
Yeah, it's built in, but it's not, it's the.
I don't know if it's got a charging.
Think about it, you're right. You're talking about
I don't know.
the system that's running the.
I haven't
software.
done it for a long time, but I have done the software rate on Windows before.
It almost doesn't feel thick enough to be charging for it.
And after Windows was installed. So added a second drive.
Well, you should be able to easily find out if it's supported. And if they support it, okay, good. But otherwise, I prefer hardware RAID anyway.
Because it is a spinning drive. Yeah,
I prefer a hardware,
I used to. I had a beautiful piece of hardware that I bought when I worked for Miami Systems. This was many years ago. And we had this weird glitch with the hardware RAID. It wasn't working right. So I'm on the phone with the company that built the machine, and they send me CDs and they're walking me through every step of do this, do this, do this. There you go. I've updated the firmware. Store your drives from backup.
What
This
backup?
wasn't the first step to create the backup. The RAID was my backup, and I know now RAID is not backup. But in 2000, I didn't know that. Software RAID hardly ever has that issue. I can take an ancient version of Linux software RAID, and I can see all of those drives with a newer version of software RAID. Can't go the other way sometimes, but newer versions are backward compatible with older versions.
okay,
And
so,
hardware isn't always.
oh, yeah, but hardware, you're usually using hardware on the system and you're recovering that system, so it's not that.
But all hardware fails. Can you still get that same card 4 years later?
Well, if you're putting
Probably off of eBay.
serial drives,
Yeah.
SATA drives, you got two SATA drives that you plug into an adapter, and it's SATA,
But if the card fails,
then you're done.
Now-
You gotta get another
now
card.
now your drives don't matter. You got to get another card, and if you can't get that card, you don't have RAID.
Why can't you get another card?
Is the
It's-
company still producing it?
You think the company's gonna go bad?
No, I think companies stop making the device A because they can make the new improved device B. And
Which should be
device
backward
B
compatible.
should be, but isn't always. I've had different versions of firmware that weren't backward compatible.
Oh,
That was the same hardware. Hardware RAID scares
So I
soft-
can have this, is that
me.
okay?
Yeah,
Okay,
enjoy.
I'm playing with it. Okay, thanks.
Thanks, Steve, appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's 7 o'clock. It's time to go.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
well.
Oh, all
Bye,
right.
guys.
Leroy?
All right.
Bye. See you
Take care.
on.